Hi everybody and welcome to Paper Wishes Vlog. I'm Lene Gehrig and today I have two brand new stamp sets from hot off the press. This is Floral Sprays and Woodland Critter stamp sets. So let me start off here showing you this adorable card that my friend Debbie made using the Woodland Critters. You can see she inked her background first using a blender brush and blue and brown and green inks, and she also used just like a torn piece of paper, and as she was moving across with colors, she would use this torn edge to give a little texture, give her a little color variance on her backgrounds. And then she stamped using black Finesse Spectrum Noir alcohol-proof ink. Alcohol-proof ink is great because we're using alcohol mark-based markers, the Spectrum Noir tri-blend markers. So if you're new to stamping and you're new to using alcohol-based markers, you want alcohol-proof dye ink so that they won't blend together. And this is the way to go with that. So she used the black one. And she cut many of her images out after she colored them. We love to stamp on the Hunky Dory Lightweight Essentials card block. It's great for, it just takes the ink really, really well. So that's our favorite for that. And she cut a lot of her little critters out, and Debbie does not mind doing her little fussy cutting, and so using tiny little scissors like these from Crafter's Companion are very helpful. And so yeah, she went ahead and she colored all of those in, cutting some of them out. Let me show you. Well, let's see. I think we'll go ahead and we'll build a card actually while we're still working with the Woodland Critters. So here is a card that I have covered with Wood and Textures paper pack from hot off the press. And then I wanted to bring in some bright colors. So this is the green polka dot from Dotted Duos number, this is number 2. Nope, this is Dotted Duos number 1. We have 3 of them, so I have to keep those straight. Put a little bit of glue. And I just center that right there. All right, and then I'm going to start with a circle. I always kind of place everything on my card first to see how I'm going to do a layout. And then I took some more of that same wood here, and I put these new Dazzle thank you stamps. They come in all different colors. I used the white. Oops, that's not supposed to be in there. Used the white, and there's also brown, silver, gold, and black. So I'm going to glue that across the bottom. And then we're going to do something with that circle. Here we go. And I really wanted to pick up that white that was there. So I die cut my circle using 12 circles and scallop cutting dies from hot off the press, and I used this little guy right there. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do a little bit of that same inking technique that Debbie did. I'm going to get my craft mat out first. There we go. And I've got my blender brush here. I'm going to take this sort of limey green from the green and yellow Cat IQ. I've got my torn edge of my paper, and I'm going to put it this way, so this is the edge that's exposed. And so really what I'm doing is I'm just masking that off so that it's protecting the rest of that white part. So there we go. There we've got my ground. We've got my grass there. All right, so now I'm going to take, this is the blue Cat IQ. I'll take that sort of nice sky blue, and then there I'm just going to be doing a little bit here, a little bit here. Depends on like how cloudy you want your day, because the white peeking through is going to be the clouds, and the blue is that sky above. Here we go. And I'm not even blotting this when I do these techniques. Usually when I'm inking, I like to blot and then do this. But I want that splotchy look for the clouds. There we go. And then if you like the blender brushes and want to know how you clean them, I clean them with just soap and water, depending on the type of ink I've used. If it's water-based ink, I use soap and water. And if it's more of a permanent ink like StazOn, then I would use StazOn cleaner on them to take that off. But when I'm in a hurry like this, I just use an alcohol-free baby wipe to get that ink off and let those dry because I'm going to be using them again. All right, so this is how far I've gotten here, and then magically, bang, I've already stamped some images on here. So I've stamped my tree, and I've stamped a couple of the little birds here and here. And I'm also going to be using some of my little critters right here. I've got a squirrel, and I think this is a hedgehog. All right, so what I did here is I used my dark brown for the tree, and I did a little coloring of dark brown, kind of like this among the branches, just on one edge of the branches. I didn't want to get it all dark brown. And then I used my golden brown. I used the darkest color on the golden brown, and I just blended the golden brown and that green that's down below is going to blend right in like that. And then I just used the tip of this pen to get up into the branches with that golden brown, just very lightly. Touching it, really. Touch, touch, touch. Don't even have to, it kind of fills in on its own because of that alcohol. That alcohol ink spreads a little bit differently than a water-based marker. A little more precise, I think, than a water-based marker. There we go. All right, so you get the idea there. And then I use a green pen. My favorite is the dull green. I put on each leaf, I put a dot of the dark green at the base of the leaf, and then I go right to the other end of this pen, which is the light green, and I just touch that to the dark green, and it just fills in. That little touch makes a big difference. Okay, so this is how this looked when I was done. Okay, so I've got my tree all colored in, I've got my birds, and then I've got my little critters here. And this first one, the squirrel, I'm just going to glue down with some Cosmic Shimmer glue. I'm going to glue that right there so I don't cover up. And then I was like, I didn't want to cut out those whiskers, so I just left the whiskers white. And then the whiskers are on the white area up here between the blue and the green, so they just sort of blended right in. And then I put a little bit of foam tape on the back of my hedgehog and put that right there. And then I'm going to take this and glue it right here to the card center. And then I have a fun little bright woodland thank you card. Go. So that's how easily that went together. Let's look at the one Debbie did too. All right, so now let's take a look at the Floral Sprays. Go. So for this Floral Spray, this one is an easel card. It's a die-cut easel card from hot off the press. They come in, oh gosh, 4 or 5 to a pack. And they're already folded like this, so you get to have patterns with them for covering everything. It's just really an easy thing to do, and look, it just sits like that. It's a nice little presentation. For this one, I went ahead and I stamped my card, and then I used pink, which, golly, I forgot to bring. Oh well, we'll skip that step. So anyway, I did ink using the blender brush with light pink around the edges here. Okay, and then I just got to work and colored. And I used a light pink, a light pink Spectrum Noir pen right here, and then worked my way out with the dark pink. Started with the dark end and then did the light pink, and then also added some yellow there. So that, once again, was really easy. And then I foam taped my little butterfly right there. So here is another one. Did this one. There you go. This one is actually this image right here. Okay. And then what I did was I stamped it again on a piece of scratch paper, like that. And I colored that again, and then I cut it out using my little tiny scissors and foam taped it on this side of the wreath, kind of making it have a little bit of dimension right there. And I should mention that this paper pack is the Lacy Coral paper pack from Hot Off the Press, and this one was Dotted Duos number 2 paper pack. So for this one, for coloring, I used coral. Here we go. I used a coral pen and a yellow pen, and of course my favorite, dull green. So I'm going to color one of these flowers just to kind of give you an idea. First I went here and did the yellow at the center. And then I started off with a mid color of the coral. It's just a really nice peachy color. I just went out kind of around those edges. And then I went to the light color because I wanted to do some blending. I wanted that yellow and that coral to blend a little bit more, so I just went over that darker color with the lighter color. And then, because I want my tips of my petals to be lighter than the center, I just went out and colored these lighter, blending in that mid color. There we go. And that's how you do that. And then for the leaves, took a medium green, kind of went to the center there, and then did the light green and blended in that middle medium green out to the edges. All right, so there we go. And then I just took my little scissors and I just started cutting out around this, and when I cut, I like to keep the paper in one place. Excuse me, I like to keep my scissors in one place, and then I just turn the paper. So keep your eye on my scissors. They're not moving. The paper is. And of course this works best if you're using a really small piece of paper. So I like to cut my stamped images down to as small as I can. Okay, and it can go as quickly as that. All right, so we've got some great money saver on these cards for you. I should also mention this stamp set with the Woodland Critters, it has these little tiny hats and acorns and things like that on it. So for like example, for this card that Debbie has, you can take one of these little hats and color it and put it right on top and make your critters be fancy. See, isn't that adorable? Very cute. All right, so we've got a great money saver on these 2 stamp sets. So if you're watching us on our vlog page, just take a look over to the right and you'll see the money saver link. You just click on the photo and it'll take you to that money saver page. And if you're watching us on youtube.com, just take a look down in the description box and you'll see links to the money saver as well as to paperwishes.com, where there's lots more fun things to play with. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.